Om Ajnanathmirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagarjatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we covered up to 29th verse last week. We'll continue from there. So last two sessions we covered, once again, let's just remind. Yeah. So we discussed yoga ladder in the first session, and then about how actions directed towards super soul will bring freedom. So we are discussing various entanglements now. So let's continue verse 30 now. Pravritim cha nivritim cha
Pravritam cha nivritam cha
karya karye bhaya bhaye
karya karye bhaya bhaye
bandham moksham cha yavetti
bandham moksham cha eti
buddhi sa pardha satviki.
buddhissa partha sattviki.
Yeah, please read.
Thank you, Prabhuji. O son of Pritha, that understanding by which one knows what ought to be done and what ought not to be done, what is to be feared and what is not to be feared, what is binding and what is liberating, is in the mode of goodness.
In today's world, people are confused. What is the right course of action? Because life always presents dilemmas, right? What is the right course? That is the question, right? How should I act in this situation? Should I go to, for example, you have a good opportunity of a job. Should I leave this place and go to that place for a better package? Or so how do you decide? What is the criteria for decision for anything? Generally, people are just materialistically minded, right? They don't have any special consideration, or they don't have a lot of clarity. What is the right course of action? That's where being Krishna conscious helps. Generally, we should see whether my spiritual life can be practiced better. That is the criteria we check for any decisions we have to take. So that is the main check. Hey, will my devotion service be jeopardized if I go here? If it is, then yeah, the answer is very clear, because the priority is very clear for us. So generally, people in the mode of goodness means sattva bhava, sattvika bhava, right? So they are very clear what should be done, because they know the goal of life. what I should do, what I need to achieve at the end of this life, right? They're not so much worried about just the bodily necessities and bodily desires. They know real higher purpose. So they live their life for that higher purpose, right? So this is mode of goodness. And they also know what is to be feared, what is not to be feared. What is to be feared is losing Krishna consciousness. Okay. Maybe, by associating with certain people, my Krishna consciousness may go down. So I will fear that. So everything is around, you have a clear goal in life, what you are going to achieve. The goal is to become a pure devotee of Krishna. That's all. That is the perfection of life. There is nothing better to be achieved in this life by anyone, right? Because everything else, you consider from bodily perspective, everything will be lost at the end of life. Nothing you can carry for your next life, except save and accept your spiritual uh, sadhana, spiritual progress. Why? Because that is at the soul level. Your spiritual progress, your chanting, hearing, Bhagavad Gita hearing, or any Shravan, Kirtan, Smaran, Pada Sevana, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasa, any of these you practice, that will continue to with you for your next life. But anything else you do, you earn a lot of money or you earn so many cars, whatever, everything will be lost with this body. You cannot carry this for the next life. So what they know very well what is to be feared and what is not to be feared. The only thing you fear is losing Krishna consciousness. And what is binding and what is liberating? What is binding and what is liberating, right? So what is binding? By the so they know very well anything, any overindulgence in material life, right? Breaking any four regulative principles, right? Those are all binding us to the material world. Performing karmic, karmically binding actions. Those are all binding. What is liberating? Actions in Krishna consciousness is liberating. So they know very well all these things. So these are all in the mode of goodness. Simply speaking, actions as directed in the scriptures are pravritti, are actions that will take us back to Krishna. Yeah. Yaya dharmam adharmam cha
Dharmam adharmam cha
karyam cha karyameva cha
karyam cha karyameva cha
ayathavat prajanati
yathavat prajanati
buddhi sa pardharajasi.
buddhi sa
Yeah, please read.
O son of Pratha, that understanding which cannot distinguish between religion and irreligion, between action that should be done and action that should not be done, is in the mode of passion.
Yeah. So people sometimes they cannot differentiate between what is religion, what is irreligion. Right? For example, at least I remember in India, whenever there is these festivals are time when we remember the specific deity, whether it is Rama or Krishna or even Ganesha, those special deities which have kindly have come to this world to protect us or to give us direction, spiritual direction. So we celebrate their arrival. Ideally, that is the consciousness one should have. But in today's world, in today's day and time, people just drink, play cards on that night. They eat meat and other things. So they don't know why they are actually celebrating. Festival is just a holiday for them, and they just enjoy the way they want. They gratify the senses as they wish. So that is not religion, right? So they don't know what is irreligion, right? Breaking all these regulative principles, they don't think that they are wrong. So that discrimination, fine-tuned discrimination, comes when you study Gita, when you study, scripture. So unfortunately, all those people are, bound in this world continuously until they become realized, right, that these are all nonsense. So they don't differentiate between what action to be done, what should not be done. People do all crazy things in this world, so they don't know what is right, what is not right. So these are all in the mode of passion, right? Not very good. Adharmam dharmam itiya
Adharmam
Adharmam dharmam itiya
manyate tamasvrita
Manyate
manyate
tamasavata
tamasavata
manyate tamasavrita
Manyate
manyate
tamasavata
tamasavata
sarvardhan viparitamscha
sarvardhan
sarvartan
viparitam
viparitam sacha
buddhi sa tamasi.
buddhi
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 sa
sa
partha
partha
tamasi.
tamasi.
Please read.
That understanding which considers irreligion to be religion and religion to be irreligion under the spell of illusion and darkness and strives always in the wrong direction, O Partha, is in the mode of ignorance.
Hmm. So this is one level, right? The previous one, mode of passion, is can't distinguish between what is right, what is wrong, right? What should be done, what cannot be done, what is religion, what is irreligion, right? But here is the complete opposite. Irreligion to be religion, right? Doing the wrong thing as the right, right? For example, if you consider a fake note to be real note, that is this. This is mode of ignorance, right? So when they say real religion, they see a lot of people even today, when we chant, or when, especially at family, when we wake up early, they think this is too much. You're chanting so at a very young age. Why should you chant? It's not necessary. When you become old, you can chant. They think religion to be a religion. Now you should enjoy. They think. A lot of people in this world, even in India, right? So irreligion to be religion and religion to be irreligion. So irreligion as religion. They don't mind if you go to cinema, cinema. You go stay for parties. Even college student parents, they don't mind today's time. But if you ever go to temple, oh, my child is going to temple today. What happened? Is he fine? Did you ever notice that thing? That kind of culture? It's there right now. That is the culture in India right now. So they don't mind if their children drink, or they go and come late from parties, stay with friends overnights. They don't mind, right? But as soon as they start chanting and spending, becoming vegetarian, oh, why now? Why are you stopping enjoyment, right? Why do they do that? Because under the spell of illusion and darkness, they're all illusioned and covered by darkness. They can't see. In the darkness, can we see anything? If the room is completely empty, right? You touch something, you guess it. You don't know what is it really, right? So our mind, when consciousness is too far away from spiritual consciousness, we are like in a dark room. Consciousness is totally dark. They can't see what is right, what is wrong. In fact, they think what is right as wrong, what is wrong as right. That is, mode of goodness. People are in the mode of goodness, people are in the mode of passion, and there are also people in the mode of ignorance. So we meet all kinds of people. When you are in this world, you will meet all kinds of people. The people have all kinds of thinking, and they can they. So how do you know what they're saying is right or wrong? You should ask yourself, or you can also ask them. Hey, you are saying, I should not go to temple, and I should not chant, I should not do worship of Krishna. But Krishna says, huh? Mam ekam sharanam vraja. So should I believe Krishna or should I believe you? You can ask like that. Right? Obviously, whom we should believe? We should believe Krishna. Right? Whenever people argue like this, they ask them, hey, should I believe you or should I believe Krishna? Which the whole world accepts as the higher authority. So think like that, logically. Otherwise, whenever people make proposals, we think, oh, maybe they are true. Because our faith is not strong. We think, oh, maybe they are true. Maybe I shouldn't spend too much time. Maybe I should not chant now. So we should protect ourselves, because people are in various levels of consciousness. People in the mode of ignorance, they completely can misdirect you, especially if they're older and you're young and you always have listened to them. Yeah, you can get misdirected by their advice, because uh, you know because of their consciousness covers your consciousness. So we have to be very, very careful, especially when you are dealing with the people in the material world. Yeah. Yeah, please read a couple of lines here.
Intelligence in the mode of ignorance is always working the opposite of the way it should. It accepts religions which are not actually religions and rejects actual religion. Men in ignorance understand a great soul to be a common man and accept a common man as a great soul. They think truth to be untruth and accept untruth as truth. In all activities, they simply take the wrong path. Therefore, their intelligence is in the mode of ignorance.
For example, when Jesus Christ was crucified, some of his own men were watching. He thought, and even some people are, punishing him. He simply said, oh Lord, just forgive them, because they don't know what they are doing. So there are people in the mode of ignorance because they don't know what they're doing. And they're thinking punishing a person. Jesus Christ, we treat him like a guru. He is like one of the guru, that's all. But punishing a guru is not wrong for them. So you can see how people are ignorant, right? So we can see this kind of attitude even in this world so much. They think truth to be untruth and accept untruth as truth. People go to so many babas hoping they can solve their problem by giving some money and taking some prasad from them. There is no magic in this world. Magic doesn't happen. Your karma is going to be with you. You can alter with some spiritual practice, but otherwise karma is going to be with you. Nobody can save us from that. So just accept life as it is and use whatever time you have to the best of your ability in serving Krishna and chanting the holy name, and become rich in holy name. So each name you chant, you are getting richer spiritually. Understand that. We cannot become billionaires in this, materially in this world, but you can be a billionaire of holy name, and that is the real wealth. Why? Because you can continue to accumulate in this life and the next life. So we should target to become Namadhani. Namadhani means one who accumulates the wealth of spiritual holy name. Right? and that carries through lives, and it always takes you upward, right? So doesn't matter what we have, this life is short, and we have a great opportunity in this human body. Use every moment you have in trying to remember Krishna and chanting his name. That is the only true wealth. All these people in this world, most are ignorant, 99%. So we cannot take their advice. We have to take the advice from Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. So many people are confused. Oh, what is right? Many people think that there is not a single right in a situation. But when you use the lens of Krishna consciousness, you have a lot of things very clear, because you are looking for your spiritual progress in every situation. Okay, there should not be any confusion. If you are confused, you can ask another advisor as a devotee who is a devotee, and you know how to see in the light of Krishna consciousness anything, any situation, doesn't matter. So that clarity in life comes only because you have taken to Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, it's not possible. Most people are in the manoradena. Manoradena means on the chariot of mind. The chariot of mind takes you in all directions, right? Mind gives you different idea. Maybe I should do like this. Maybe I should do like this. Today night you will think one way. Tomorrow you wake up, your mind says some other way, and tomorrow evening again mind says some other way. So people in general who are not Krishna conscious, they are on the chariot, driven by the chariot of mind. Krishna says in Gita, right? So manoradhena. So that's why they are never satisfied, and they don't know what is right, what is wrong, and whether what they're doing is right or wrong, what is the purpose of life, where they're going after this life, where what is good, what is wrong, and nothing. People don't know because they have no criteria. There is no baseline. There is no uh, guiding principle, right? We need to have. So we are all very, very fortunate in that sense, because we have Krishna consciousness as our guiding force, and there is no better guiding force than that. Dhrityayaya Dhrityayaya dharaya te
Dhrityaya dharaya
Rayate
Mana pranendriya kriya
mana
Mana
Pranendriya
pranendriya
Kriya Kriya
yogena vyabhicharyena vyabhicharinya
yogena
Vyabhicharinya
abhicharya
Riddhi sa partha satviki.
Dhriti
Disa
Sapartha
Satviki.
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 Please read.
O son of Pritha, that determination which is unbreakable, which is sustained with steadfastness by yoga practice, and which thus controls the activities of the mind, life, and senses, is determination in the mode of goodness.
Now we are talking about determination in the mode of goodness, right? One-pointed determination, which is unbreakable, sustained with steadfastness with yoga practice. Determination, true determination should be one for progressing in spiritual life, right? And which thus controls the activities of mind. Which is, like for example, for us, what this concept relates to is practicing japa or chanting japa, right? Controls the activities of mind, life, and senses, is determination in the mode of goodness. So basically, yoga practice is in the mode of goodness. And that should do what? It should control the activities of mind, life, and senses. So when you chant the holy name, your life changes. You will be able to control your senses because it has the potency to control your mind, and when mind is controlled, mind can control the senses. Right? Generally, for people in this world who are not Krishna consciousness, senses control the mind. Means senses say, I want to eat that, I want to see this, I want to buy that. Mind runs after the senses. Mind just follows and fulfills the desires of the senses. I want to eat it, I'll buy it and eat it. Right? Intelligence just surrenders to mind. Okay? Senses will pull the mind. Intelligence just surrenders to the mind. So people go and fulfill their desires. So that is the order of control is reversed. Senses control mind. Intelligence cannot do anything about it. Intelligence follows it. Intelligence is diluted. Intelligence is um, basically lack of proper spiritual intelligence. So mind just gets dragged and ego follows and the soul is bewildered. So that is the normal order of control within every jiva. But when you start practicing, japa or any other spiritual practices, suddenly there is a order change. Now mind is pacified, mind is purified. Sorry, not pacified, purified. When mind is purified of the contamination, mind is like a dusted mirror. If you have a mirror but it is all dusty on top of it, on the top layer, you cannot see your true self. But when you clear your mind, or when you clear your mirror, all of a sudden you can start seeing yourself clearly. Now when mind is cleansed by the practice of chanting, mind will start being able to mind will be strengthened to start controlling the senses and bring them in order. Then you will be able to. That's why people who chant, they can easily control what they eat and what they cannot eat, and they will be able to stop their material desires slowly, and they can stop everything. Like all the senses are controlled. So mind is in control. Mind can control senses, and by studying Bhagavad Gita and other scriptures, it will sharpen our intelligence. Like, for example, today we discussed how do you know what to do? The criteria, the baseline argument is it going to be conducive to my Krishna consciousness? Right? So, intelligence is the decisive power, and because we strengthen that intelligence with Bhagavad Gita, knowledge of Gita, so our determination becomes very clear. Okay. Uh, so yeah, so the order of control is changed. Mind is controlling senses. Intelligence is very clear. Spiritual intelligence, it knows what to do, what not to do. And then uh, again, the soul and false ego goes down. So you start seeing your true self slowly and steadily, and then the soul is in a peaceful state, because all the senses are in harmony uh, with the higher purpose. Right? So by chanting, you actually strengthen the soul. Soul will now control the mind. I will control the intelligence, and intelligence will control mind. Mind will control senses. The order is completely reversed. Yeah, please read.
Yoga is a means to understand the Supreme Soul. One who is steadily fixed in the Supreme Soul with determination, concentrating one's mind, life, and sensory activities on the Supreme, engages in Krishna consciousness. That sort of determination is in the mode of goodness. The word avyabhicharinya is very significant, for it indicates that persons who are engaged in Krishna consciousness are never deviated by any other activity.
They're not distracted. Even if they do other things, they will never stop doing the main thing, which is Krishna consciousness. Yaya tu dharma kamardhan
Yaya tu
Ya
dharma
tu
kama
dharmastan
Britya dharayate Arjuna
Vidyadharayate
Vidyadharayate
Arjuna
prasangena falankankshi
Prasangena
Prasangena
phalankakshi
Kisa Partharajasi.
Dritasa
Dritasa
Partharajasi.
Partharajasi.
Yeah, please read.
But that determination by which one holds fast to fruitive results in religion, economic development, and sense gratification is of the nature of passion, O Arjuna.
People in the mode of passion, they're determined, but determined to achieve things in this world, right? Fruitive results in religion means somebody decide to go to higher planets through performance of certain yajna. In India, people still perform a lot of pujas and vratas. And if you ask what is the purpose, to gain money or to gain wealth, sukha sampatti, like this, right? Shubh they always aspire for money. If you look at, so that why money? Because they can enjoy. So religion for the purpose of enjoyment or sense gratification is because of determination in the mode of passion. It's Rajasi Guna. Even though you are performing religion, but if the purpose is some enjoyment, something you will gain. You're doing that through legal means, but meaning you are depending on God to get those things, but it is still not perfect because your body is temporary and you're trying to gratify your senses, which are temporary again. So that will not result in the long-term benefit, right? So going to higher planets is fruitive results in religion, economic development to accumulate wealth and whatever whatnot, and sense gratification is basically enjoyment, right? Dharma, artha, kama, and you are frustrated, moksha. This is what people consider as the path of perfection. Dharma, perform dharma means perform your actions centered around God, keeping centered is God. And by performing dharma, you get artha. You get, Lakshmi or whatever, money. And then with that money, do what? Kama, enjoy. Dharma, artha, kama. But the things that you get in this world are temporary. So the enjoyment is short-lived and leads to frustration. When you are frustrated, moksha. This is what people think is the path of perfection. But actually, we don't recommend anybody to follow that. That's the long shot. That's the staircase method of progressing spiritual life. We can go to the elevator path. We don't need to wait to be frustrated to take to spiritual path in the path of perfection. We can happily perform devotion service at a very young age, as taught by Prahlad Maharaj. Right? Kaumaram acharet prajna. Kaumaram acharet prajna. When should one start devotion service? Right at the Kaumara, age of 5. That is the best age to begin. Who says that? Prahlad Maharaj, the devotee of Lord Narsingadev. We celebrated Narsinga Chaturdasi recently. So one should start as soon as possible. We don't need to wait for dharma, artha, kama, and then moksha. That's the long shot. So this is mode of passion, right? Determination, the mode of passion. Yeah, please. Yeah, read this.
Any person who is always desirous of fruitive results in religious or economic activities, whose only desire is sense gratification, and whose mind, life, and senses are thus engaged, is in the mode of passion.
Yaya swapnam bhayam shokam
Yaya
Yaya
swapnam
swapnam
bhayam
bhayam
shokam
Shokam
vishadam madameva cha
Vishadam
Vishadam madameva
madameva
cha
cha
navimun navimunchati dhurmedha
navimunchati
durmeda
durmeda
dhrithi sa pardhatamasi.
Dhriti
Dhriti sa pardhatamasi.
tamasi.
Now we'll discuss the determination in the mode of ignorance.
And that determination which cannot go beyond dreaming, fearfulness, lamentation, moroseness, and illusion, such unintelligent determination, O son of Pritha, is in the mood of darkness.
That determination which cannot go beyond dreaming, fearfulness, lamentation, moroseness, and illusion. So these are the characteristics of mode of ignorance. So people who are in the dream world, always thinking, dreaming, but not really doing anything in real life, right? And always full of fear. Should I do that? Oh, maybe that will happen like this. They're always fearful, lament, always cry internally, morose, always sad, right? Full of illusion. Such unintelligent determination. You don't literally have any determination. Is in the mode of darkness or ignorance. Yeah, please continue here.
Yes, Prabhuji. It should not be concluded that a person in the mode of goodness does not dream. Here, dream means too much sleep. Dreaming is always present, either in the mode of goodness, passion, or ignorance. Dreaming is a natural occurrence. But those who cannot avoid oversleeping, who cannot avoid the pride of enjoying material objects, who are always dreaming of lording it over the material world, in whose life, mind, and senses are thus engaged, are considered to have determination in the mode of ignorance.
Yeah. This is all mode of ignorance. Yeah. Sukham pa idanim trividam.
Sukham
idanim tridham
Shrinu me bharatarshava.
Srinome
Bharatashtava
Abhyasad ramate yatra.
Abhyastadamate
Visadramate
yatra.
yatra
Dukhantam cha nigacchati.
Dukkantam
Dukkantam cha
cha
nigacchati.
nigacchati.
Please read.
O best of the Bharatas, now please hear from me about the three kinds of happiness by which the conditioned soul enjoys and by which he sometimes comes to the end of all distress.
Yeah. Three kinds of happiness. Yeah. Let's see. What are those? Yattad agre visham eva.
Yattadagre visham eva
Pariname mritopaman.
Pariname mritopamam
Tat sukham satvikam proktam.
Sukham satvikam
Samvikam
proktam.
proktam
Atma buddhi prasadajam.
Atmabuddhi
Atmabuddhi
prasadajam.
prasadajam
Yeah, please read.
That which in the beginning may be just like poison, but at the end is just like nectar, and which awakens one to self-relation is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness.
So happiness in the mode of goodness begins like poison, but at the end is like nectar. Yeah. Agre visham iva. Agre means in the beginning, it is like visham. Pariname amrutopamam. Amrutopamam, actually. Amrutopamam. So, but it turns into nectar. For example, when somebody hears about spiritual life, right? Like, hey, we need to chant every day. It appears like poison because, oh, I should spend so much time every day. How can I do that? It's not possible, right? It appears like it's not very palatable for a lot of people. Even some people wake up very early in the morning to do this. So why should I, disturb my sleep, wake up early in the morning, do all the austerity, and then, chant the holy name? It's like poison in the beginning, just from materialistic perspective. But actually, devotees are happy to do that. But austerities for spiritual life appear like poison in the beginning, but at the end is just like nectar. But the result is that once you advance spiritually, it is like nectar. You relish, you look forward for it. You look forward to chant the holy name every day. Because why? Because slowly you get purified, and when you are purified, you're slowly getting closer to full realization of God and self. So that naturally becomes like nectar, right? So if you want to become happier as you advance in your age, the only way is to continue to practice spiritual life. Otherwise, as people age in this world, they only become more and more miserable. And when they don't have any Krishna consciousness in their life, most people, because all the senses they were able to that they are able to use to enjoy this world will slowly become weakened. They cannot do anything about it. Senses naturally become weak as one ages. Once you become 50, 55, 60, senses are going to be weak. But the desires are as strong as when you are young. It's not that your desires will go weak. You still want money, you still want to enjoy this, enjoy that, you want to eat sweets, this and that. But the senses are not supporting now. So you become more miserable. And people are not as friendly as you are young. Because when you are young, you are able to accomplish so many things. Your family, everybody depends on you and you are respected. But as you become old, you don't have the same place, same position as you are when you are young. And if you have no shelter of God, you have nobody, no strong base, then you feel, life is worthless. What did I do? What did I achieve? This is the experience of most people, 99.9% of people, unfortunately. They don't know why they're living, they're aging, they raise their children, and that's all is about life. That's what they will come to it. So it's better to understand and align our life with Krishna consciousness earlier, so that by the time when we are old, we're already made significant progress, and life is already. So even if you have any health problem or economic problem, as long as you are Krishna conscious, you don't become miserable, because Krishna consciousness is so enlivening. You don't depend on anything material, right? So you're always happy. Yeah, please read.
In the pursuit of self-realization, one has to follow many rules and regulations to control the mind and the senses and to concentrate the mind on the self. All those procedures are very difficult, bitter like poison. But if one is successful in following the regulations and comes to the transcendental position, he begins to drink real nectar and he enjoys life.
So in the end, it will be nectar. Vishayendriya samyogad.
Visha Indriya Samyoga.
Yoga.
Yeah, before let me clarify one thing. So one of our acharyas is Rupa Goswami. So Rupa Goswami says in one of the verse in Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu scripture, when I chant the name of Krishna, the word Krishna, right? When I just utter the word Krishna, it immediately Krishna dances on my tongue, and my heart will be filled with so much joy that my hairs stand on end and tears flow for my eyes, and I am totally absorbed in Krishna in supreme ecstasy. So that is the experience one gets as one self-religious. Okay, so that is the standard of achieving perfection of life. So you don't need anything in life. Just chanting Krishna will completely satisfy your life. You don't need to depend on food, water, loved ones, nothing. Just chanting gives you so much inner joy. So that is the power of spiritual life. You become sincere and practice from today. That is the end result. And after this life, you'll go back to Krishna also. Right? So that is what we want to achieve. So the spiritual life is not an ordinary, it's not just another religious practice. It's a practice to make one's life perfect. Vishayendriya samyogad yattad agre amritopamam pariname visham eva tatsukham rajasam smritam. Yeah, please read.
The happiness which is derived from contact of the senses with their objects and which appears like nectar at first but poison at the end is said to be of the nature of passion.
The happiness mainly derived from contact of senses with their objects. Senses with objects means you saw it and you loved it and you want to get it. You try to do whatever you can to get it. It appears like nectar. You start dreaming about your life or your loved one or so-called love at first sight. All those things are like that. So it appears like nectar in the beginning. You enjoy, I am achieving what I wanted finally in my life. It appears like nectar, but it is like poison at the end. Because you get attached to it. If you achieve it, you become possessive. You don't want anybody to see it. If you don't get it, you get frustrated. So either way, it is attachment, right? So attachment is binding. Attachment or frustration, both are material emotions. So neither is good, right? But poison at the end. So anyway, you have to, even if you live all your life as a loved couple, you have to again die, give up each other, and I don't think there is any guarantee you will become partners in the next life. If you have missed Krishna consciousness, you really gain nothing by so even if you have lived all your life with your loved one, still death steals your loved one. So never believe in these temporary relations. We have a duty. We have to definitely serve loved ones and be affectionate, but not attached, right? Attached to their material. So see them as parts of Krishna, as devotees of Krishna, then serve them into that capacity. So that is the right way of seeing our loved ones, not in the spirit of enjoying them, or then it will be like nectar in the beginning and poison at the end. So this is all in the mode of passion. Yeah, please continue here.
A young man and woman meet, and the senses drive the young man to see her, to touch her, and to have sexual intercourse. In the beginning, this may be very pleasing to the senses, but at the end, or after some time, it becomes just like poison. They are separated, or there is divorce, there is lamentation, there is sorrow, etc. Such happiness is always in the mode of passion.
We see this every day in the newspapers. Everywhere. Is all in the happiness in the mode of passion. So by learning all of this, you know, oh, this activity, this is happiness in the mode of passion. This activity, this is happiness in the mode of goodness. So we look at like that. So that is the reason we are studying all of this. Yada gre chanu bhande cha
यदा
sukham mohanam
Sukham mohanam
nidra lasya pramadhotham tattamasam udahritam.
tamasam udahritam.
Yeah. Please read.
And that happiness which is blind to self-realization, which is delusion from beginning to end, and which arises from sleep, laziness, and illusion, is said to be of the nature of ignorance.
So in the mode of passion, at least it is nectar in the beginning, at the end it is poison. But the happiness in the illusion, or happiness in the mode of illusion or ignorance, it's an activity that brings happiness, that blinds you for self-realization, because it is derived, happiness derived from drinking wine, for example. It's delusionary, completely takes away your consciousness. It suppresses your consciousness. So it is delusion from the beginning to end, primarily caused by oversleep, being very lazy, and always being illusioned, right? So these are the happiness seek by people in the mode of ignorance. Yeah. Please read.
One who takes pleasure in laziness and in sleep is certainly in the mode of darkness. Ignorance, and one who has no idea how to act and how not to act is also in the mode of ignorance. For the person in the mode of ignorance, everything is illusion. There is happiness either in the beginning or at the end. There is no happiness either in the beginning or at the end.
No, there is no happiness at all for this consciousness people. Yeah. Oh, actually, this is a summary of all the 3 verses. Can you read this?
For the person in the mode of passion, there might be some kind of ephemeral happiness in the beginning and at the end, distress. But for the person in the mode of ignorance, there is only distress both in the beginning and at the end.
If somebody is ignorant, more in the mode of ignorance, he is miserable in the beginning and also at the end. But for people in the mode of passion, some little tinge of happiness in the beginning, but end is misery. Nata daste pritivyam cha deveshu vapuna Sattvam prakriti jair muktam
Sattvam prakriti jair muktam
yadebhishat tribhirgunai.
yadebhishat virgunai. There is no being existing either here or among the demigods in the higher planetary systems, which is freed from these 3 modes born of material nature.
So no being either here or among demigods in the higher planetary systems, which is freed from these three modes born of material nature. So not only us, the people of earthly planet Bhuloka, even people of Swargaloka, the demigods, the 33 crore demigods. Who are the demigods? Demigods are the empowered living entities to actually rule over people of earthly planet, right? If we see rain or all the supplies in the earthly planet are controlled by the demigods, like Varuna, Vayu, air, water, all the necessities we have in this earthly planet are actually controlled by the demigods. Demigods like Indra, Varuna, Vayu, Agni, they're all demigods, powerful living entities who are living in higher planet called Swargaloka. So people in the material world, both in this planet as well as the Swargaloka, Krishna says everybody is born of some material nature. Some material nature. So in these two planetary systems, there is going to be the three modes: mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. One cannot avoid it, right? Yeah. So see, clearly Krishna says there are demigods in higher planetary systems, right? But the so-called scientist says there is nothing, no life outside this earthly planet. It's such a foolish idea. Just like just like Earth is a planet and there are so many living entities, there are so many facilities for living, there are seasons, there are perfect balance of everything, right? So why would all these other planets just float in air and have nobody to carry? Simple logic. If Earth has so many living entities, why should other planets not have? Just that you cannot see. Your eyes may not be limited not to see. Your calculation of what life conditions may be different. It doesn't mean all these floating planets don't have any living entity. Everything has a purpose in existence. You may not understand. So don't be confused how this or believe these scientific theories that there is no life beyond this earth planet. That's all completely wrong. Simple logic, like why there is life here and there is no other life in anywhere else. There is life. There is life which we may not be able to see, we may not be able to understand how that is operating. It may be subtler than we can understand. It may be in a different form than the way we can perceive. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist, right? Just because you cannot see, you cannot understand. Yeah. So this is the summary of section of various modes. So everybody in this material world is in the modes of nature. Any questions or any discussions?
Prabhuji, I have a question. So Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, they're not considered demigods?
Are demigods. Brahma lives in a higher planet though. Brahma lives in the top planet called Brahmaloka. Shiva lives in 11 places. One is so this is called 11 Rudras. There are actually 11 Rudras. The chief among the Rudras is Lord Shiva. So he's also a demigod, but he's also a great, he's also Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu. Means he's also a great Vaishnava. Means he's a great devotee of the Lord also. But he's not like a Jiva. Brahma is like a Jiva. Varuna, Vayu, Indra, Jivas. Jiva means spirit soul, just a minute living entity like us. But they're empowered. Just like a cabinet minister is empowered to do, they can order few $1 billion of expenses. They can, because they have the power of attorney to do that. They have the power given by the government or the president. So similarly, the demigods are empowered representatives of God, just like ministers in the local government. So they can do so many things, but we cannot do as much as they. They are far more powerful than us. They can supply the entire fire department in this planet. They can supply the entire rain department, Varuna. They are very powerful, but still they are like you and me in terms of their identity as a soul. But Lord Shiva is not like that. Lord Shiva is almost God, but he is slightly tinged with the mode of ignorance. It's called Shambhu Tattva. He is almost like God. He's an expansion of God.
Mhm.
Yeah. So for the process of actually material existence. So he's called Mahesh. Mahesh means, Mahi means earth. Isha means controller. He's the controller of earth planet. So Lord, so Vishnu and Lakshmi are the spiritual counterparts in the spiritual existence. When they have to manage the material affairs, they transform them, they basically expand into these forms called Mahesh and Durga. Durga, she is the in charge of material existence. She is the one who keeps the living entities in this material world. Durga word comes from Durg. Durg means what? Anybody knows? Durg.
Like a fortress or a jail.
Fortress. Yes, correct. So the material world is a fortress. Fortress means a wall. There is a wall within this material world. And the people of this world who are trying to enjoy their senses are kept under this wall, right? So Durga is the in charge of this wall. She will keep the people in this world until they continue to enjoy this senses in this world, right? So as long as one gratifies his senses, his destiny is fixed. He has to be within this fortress of material existence, right? It's material world. What keeps us? There is no real, binding force. The binding force is one's own desires. As long as you want to fulfill your desires and enjoy in this world, just Mother Durga will facilitate you and she will keep you in this world. And as soon as you turn your face towards Krishna, Lord Shiva will help you and take you to him. So those who desire anything in this world, that's why they perform worship of Durga, especially. Even Lord Shiva also they worship. But actually, Lord Shiva fulfills the desires of everybody. He's called Ashutosh.
Mhm.
Easily satisfied. But his desire is not actually to keep us in this material world and satisfy our desires. As soon as the jiva becomes sincere, he wants them to actually go back to Krishna. You will read that in Bhagavatam. So many places he comes and encourages devotees to perform pure devotion service, like prachetas. Prachetas, when they meet prachetas, children of Daksha Prajapati, they all go to perform austerities. When Lord Shiva sees them, he guides them on chanting the holy name and perfect one's life, perform Vishnu worship and go back to Godhead. So he teaches them like that. So many incidents where Lord Shiva encourages one to become devotee of Lord Krishna. He is more happy when a jiva becomes a devotee of Krishna than a devotee of himself. It's very loud and clear. So many places we read about this. Then one may ask, why is there Shiva Puran, where it is described, where it is mentioned for one to worship Lord Shiva, right?
Mhm.
That's a natural question. Yes, let me answer that as well. So there are Puranas in the different modes. There are 18 Puranas, 6 in the mode of goodness, 6 in the mode of passion, 6 in the mode of ignorance. Right? The Puranas are like the bridges for one to lift from one level of consciousness to the next level. So the Puranas in the mode of ignorance, they're not going to teach about becoming more ignorant. The Puranas, those Puranas are like Skanda Puran and many other, Skanda Puran, and there are a few others. So they are there to make one lift one from lower consciousness, like mode of ignorance, to mode of passion. You cannot directly come to mode of goodness easily. A lot of people cannot directly come to mode of goodness. They have to be progressively from animalistic life, from mode of ignorance, they can be lifted to mode of passion. So lot of Puranas where primarily worship of Lord Shiva is glorified is there to lift Shiva from the lower mode of ignorance to mode of passion. You worship this, you perform this puja and achieve wealth. Okay. So this guy who is completely ignorant, not doing any activity, sleepy, lazy, and disillusioned, now starts performing. Oh, maybe I'll get something. Let me work. So they'll do this puja and work, and they get some fruits. So they will lift one from mode of ignorance to passion, and the Puranas in the mode of passion are there to lift one from passion to goodness, and the Puranas in the goodness, like Bhagavad Purana. Bhagavad Purana is considered Amala Purana. Amala Purana means the highest of all Puranas. It is referred so in other Puranas also. It's not like we are saying because we are Vaishnavas. Even other Puranas accept the superiority of Bhagavatam. So in those scriptures, in the Puranas, in the mode of goodness, primarily it is the worship of Vishnu is focused, and they lift one from mode of goodness to transcendence above the three modes. So that's the sequence. Okay, I hope I answered your question, Mataji.
Yes, Babaji. Next.
Anything else? Okay. Thank you all very much. We covered verse 40 and we'll continue next week with next verse.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.